Mindset, a daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markle. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markle.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the Morning Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Paul Markle, and we're going to continue on the brand new year, on the journey of a new year with a question. Are you a victim? And you say your knee-jerk reaction is no. Well, if the answer is no, then stop acting like one. I feel like I have to address this because I've seen it far too often. I use productivity tools, and one of the productivity tools that's really not that productive, at least for me anymore, but it's a thing called LinkedIn. And many of you, if you're contractors or you're business professionals, the reason that I have a LinkedIn account is because some of the other business professionals that I do business with, they have them, and I set it up, I don't know, years and years ago. I don't use it that often anymore because now I don't rely on other people for my jobs. I actually rely only upon myself. But I digress. One of the things that I started noticing on LinkedIn was when people would put their status, and I'm a United States military veteran. I think I've spoken to that enough times for you guys to know that. I served in the United States Marine Corps as an infantryman, and I did a bunch of other things as well. And I was in the first Gulf War with 6 Marines, and we didn't know it was the first Gulf War at the time, kind of like World War I. You know, when those guys were over there in Europe fighting in the trenches in World War I, they didn't call it World War I because they didn't know that it was the first one. But I see military veterans, recently discharged military veterans, and in their LinkedIn accounts, they'll put things like disabled veteran. Now, I know that might seem like a wise thing to do. You're like, oh, but Paul, don't you know that there are certain companies and businesses and programs that if you hire disabled veterans, then you get tax breaks and so forth? Are you calling yourself a disabled veteran? Are you calling yourself disabled? Is that how you refer to yourself? And you say, well, what's wrong with that? It's, that is embracing victimization. And if this hurts your feelings, it's just too damn bad, because I'm not here to worry about your feelings. I'm here to help you lead a positive and productive life. And I'm here to tell you that you cannot and you will not be able to lead a positive and a productive and an independent life if you embrace victimization. Every human out there listening to me has different abilities. Some people are in wheelchairs, some people use crutches, some people don't. Some people lost limbs overseas. That sucks. You know what? It doesn't mean that you are disabled for life. Does your mind still function properly? Are you able to speak and communicate with others? Yes? The answer is yes. You have something to contribute. You are not a victim. I see in our modern world, in our modern society, a huge push for victimization. The victim mentality. Everyone is a victim of an ism, of a sexism or a racism or a this-ism or a that-ism. Many of the big rights movements of the 60s and 70s, maybe even go back to the 50s or whatever, the rights movements started out as, potentially productive and good things. We want equal rights for all people, equal rights for men, equal rights, for women, equal rights for, depending, whatever your skin color is and your ethnic background and all that stuff. It seems on the face of it in the beginning that it is empowering, and we throw these words around all the time. You see and you hear empowering, empower this, empower that. But unfortunately, what these movements devolve into is not independence and empowerment and strength. What they devolve to is these masses of victims. Rather than people saying, yes, I'm going to take charge of my own life. I'm going to take charge of my own destiny. I'm going to work. I'm going to earn what I'm going to deserve what I earn and earn what I deserve. Instead, what these rights movements do is they create massive groups of victims. They make it easy for people to accept the victim card and fall prey to that. And if you have accepted the victim card, if you've aligned yourself with another group of put upon victims, you are hindering yourself. Now, it's easy. It's part of the human condition. Human beings love, we have two brains, we have two minds. We have the weak mind and the strong mind. We have the lazy mind and the productive mind. And the lazy, weak, productive mind says, heck yeah, I'm a victim of blank. I'm a victim of something. Something or someone or some group of people did me wrong, and now I'm a victim. And because I'm a victim, then it's not my fault that I don't work hard. It's not my fault that I'm not productive. It's not my fault that I don't have the job that I want to have, that I don't have the life that I think I deserve, because I'm a victim. That's bull crap. That's toro caca. The United States of America was not a country built by victims. It was a country built by people who said, we're going to take charge of our own lives and we're going to accept both our successes and our failures. We're not going to take our failures and blame them upon some other circumstance or some other group of people and say, it's okay that I failed because it's not my fault. That is not how you lead a positive and productive life. My friends, I have a lot of acquaintances, business partners, friends, close friends that have been in war and have lost body parts. And I'm proud that the vast majority of these people are productive individuals. Could you sit around and say, woe is me, life sucks, it's not fair that this happened to me, it's not fair, that I have red hair and freckles? I'm teasing, I'm kidding you. Sure, that's easy. Anybody can do that. Anybody can sit back and whine and cry and say, I'm a victim, therefore it's not my fault. You can, as an American, as a human, you can do that. I would recommend against it because you're never going to be happy. Victims are not happy people. Victims are miserable people because victims don't take charge of their own lives. You can't be independent. You can't lead a productive and a positive life if at the same time you are dwelling on victimization. And that is the sick and twisted, what do I want to say? And I'm keeping this family friendly, and I hope you appreciate that because tomorrow's not going to be so much. You can't live a positive and productive life if you've allowed yourself to buy into the victimization mentality. You know what? If you are a U.S. military serviceman, if you're a veteran, if you lost a leg or two legs, I had the great fortune of getting to know a U.S. Army veteran, a colonel, who lost both of his legs from above the knee, right? Bionic legs. He uses a chair sometimes, crutches sometimes. This guy has the most positive, can-do spirit of any human you ever wanted to encounter. He could sit around and say, I'm a 100% disabled veteran, and everyone needs to feel sorry for me. Poor me, give me, feel sorry for me. He could, but he doesn't. He gets up every single day. He puts on his bionic legs. He puts on a happy face, and he says, let's get this job done. I'm going to have to struggle. It's going to be harder than it used to be, but I'm going to do it. You don't have to be a victim. You don't have to buy into, other people may have told you. Other people may have said, wow, life really wasn't fair to you. Yeah, it sucks. You should, you have every right to sit in the corner and pout, and you can, and maybe you should for a little bit, but get out of that corner. It's time to start leading a positive and productive life. It's time to be independent. It's time to be strong, and you cannot do that if at the same time you're calling yourself disabled. You're calling yourself a victim. Stop referring to yourself as disabled. Stop referring to yourself or thinking of yourself as a victim of something. That's where you're going to start. That's where we're going to start right now, today, for a brand new year. No more victimization. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Paul Markle, and I will talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markle, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.